The mission to care. The mission to care. In today's society, people are moving and shaking and doing as much as they can, climbing corporate ladders and making names for themselves, that they seldom take time to care. We seldom take time to show concern for others and take time to get engaged and be involved. But in order for us to be seen and known as followers of Christ, we must show that we are caring people. In fact, Jesus himself said to his disciples in John chapter 13, verse 35, that the way that they will know that you are my disciples, let me make it clear to you, the only way that people will know is how you love or care for one another. And even though these are the words of Christ himself, sadly, in today's context of cancel culture and supremacist extremists and people who are just plain evil, the mandate to care for one another as demonstrated by Christ is flailing at best. We are more concerned about ourselves and more concerned about what it is that we want over and against anything else. Yet Jesus not only taught us how to care as he walked this earth, but even now, at this very moment in chapter 19 of the Gospel of John, in this very context, at the very pinnacle of his earthly ministry, Jesus is using words to speak to humanity. As he is speaking to his mother and to the disciple, the beloved disciple, John, he calls his mother woman. And at times we take offense to that, but let's think back that there was another time when Jesus spoke to his mother as woman. And both of these incidents where Jesus speaks of his mother as woman are moments of transition in his life. And now we're at another transition in the life of Jesus. The first was a transition that pushed him into his purpose, and he spoke to his mother as woman. But this is a transition that's now pushing him to his eternal destiny as he again calls his mother woman. Perhaps Jesus was saying to Mary, look at me. He who has been beaten beyond recognition. Behold, your son, look at me. He who no longer looked human. Behold, your son, look at me. He who was wounded and bruised and bloody now says, behold. Behold, I believe that Jesus was reminding his mother that he has done all that he can do. I believe that now Jesus is saying, behold thy son, reminding her that I have taken you as far as I can take you in the earthly realm. Our relationship is getting ready to change. I will no longer be your son, but rather I will be your savior. Woman, hold son. And though our relationship is changing, things won't be the same. I'm not going to leave you comfortless. You see, Jesus had already had this conversation with his disciples. And so he says to his beloved disciple, John, son, thy mother. And I believe that this was a clear example of the mission for us all to care. Because Jesus is now showing, demonstrating to us what it means to care ye one for the other. I believe that Jesus was saying to his mother, listen, the relationship is changing. And yes, I must go, but I won't leave you alone. I'm going to put you in some good hands. He was calling John at that moment to be a carer of souls. He was calling on John in this word to care for the soul of his mother. She was looking now at someone she no longer recognized, even though she raised him from the time of birth. And here she is now standing at the foot of his lynching tree. And I believe that Jesus was trying to bring us full circle. That through this horror, Jesus is teaching and showing us that we have been called to care for the souls of one another. Jesus was bringing all things full circle and resetting us in humanity, reminding us that we have an obligation one to the other, reminding us that, yes, I am my brother's keeper. Yes, I am my sister's keeper. And in this moment, as he is talking to John about his beloved mother, that he was giving John the permission to care for her soul, because the body is fallen. John was being called to care for the soul of Mary. Jesus had cared for the soul of John. And so what is it that God is saying to us today in 2021, in the midst of this vile and ugliness found in humanity, where man is killing man? What is he saying to us today? There are insurrections and white supremacy. What is God saying to us through this message of his mother and his beloved disciple standing at the cross? I believe that Jesus is saying that in order to care for souls, we must get in the trenches. And just as his mother had cared for him from birth to death, so it is that in our society today, who is caring for the souls of those who have been hurt? Caring for the souls of the mothers of Michael Brown and Tamir Rice, Miranda Castile and Eric Gardner, who's caring for the souls of the mother of Ahmaud Arbery and Bolton John and Sandra Bland and Breonna Taylor, who's caring for the souls of mothers of the world. We watch atrocities take place. We have an obligation, the mantle, to be those who are soul carriers. We have a mission to care. And through this demonstration of Christ on the cross with his mother and his beloved disciple, Jesus shows us what it means to care for souls.